Hi. So it's Thursday and I taught art camp all week, which means today is crock pot day. And in the crock pot, we're going to be putting a pot roast, which is super yummy. It's super easy. You cook it for like 8 hours and then dinner's ready by the end of the day. So first thing we're going to get started with is your chuck roast, and that's the kind of meat that I use. This is called a chuck roast. What you want to look for when you are getting this at the store is that it's really marbled. Marbled means that like the fat kind of like winds its way all throughout it. And we're going to tenderize the meat to get started with. This is a really therapeutic part of this process, and so end of the week is a really good time to make pot roast. This is my really cool tenderizer. It looks like a torture weapon. This is also a meat tenderizer, which you can use this too. I don't really know what else you could use. You could figure something out, but you're just going to literally stab it a whole bunch and tenderize it. Like I said, really therapeutic. And then I'm going to turn it over. I use tongs because you don't want to put your hands all over it. That's gross. No. Or you might have to. And then you're going to tenderize the other side. Okay, after we tenderize it, we're going to do something really important, and you're going to sear it, which means I have my, what is this called, a pan over here. I'm going to turn it on high. I'm going to spray it so that my meat doesn't stick. I just sprayed it super quick. I'm going to let that sit for just a second. Then I'm going to take my tongs. I'm going to take this over there too. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it down on the pan for just a few seconds on each side. And that kind of like keeps all the juices and the moisture. Okay. So we're going to put it in there for just a second. We're going to wait until it gets a little bit brown, and then we're going to flip it over on the other side. So make sure this takes like wrist strength. You can hear it. Maybe you can hear it. If you can't, I can hear it. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it over. Do that on the other side. Let that sit for just a second. I hear it popping. Okay, then we're going to turn it off. So now we're going to transfer this straight to my crock pot. Which means I'm going to take the whole pan so I don't drop my crock pot or my pot roast in the middle. I'm going to put that straight into my crock pot. And the magic seasoning that I use for pot roast is Seasonal. This is so easy. It's just a giant thing of Seasonal. And I'm going to sprinkle it all across the top. So I'm going to coat it. I just coated the whole thing in Seasonal. I'm going to set that down. Next, you're going to take your onion, and your onion goes right next to your pot roast. Cutting off the ends of my onion. It goes right next to the pot roast because all of the onion flavors just make it super yummy. And it kind of soaks into the meat. I don't want this weird skin on there. I'm going to take that off. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut it in half, and we're doing big chunks, so you don't want to cut it up like really tiny. And when I put the onions in there, I'm going to shove it all around the pot roast. I'm going to break it up a little bit. I'm going to shove it all, I'm like just kind of tucking it in around my pot roast here. And I'm going to put the whole onion in there. Next, we're going to put, every time you put a new thing in there, you want to put a little bit of Seasonal on top of it, so it kind of seasons every layer. Then we're going to take, these are like those gold potatoes. You can use new potatoes. Don't use baking potatoes. They just don't like have the same flavor, and I cut them up into 8, so like half, half, half. About this size, and we're going to dump those in. I use about 1 per person that I'm cooking for. Same thing, I'm going to shove those down in there. Seasonal. This is the very first meal that all 3 of my babies ate because the veggies get really, really soft, and they're flavored with really yummy pot roast juice, so you kind of can't go wrong. And now all my kids like vegetables. So secret, teach them to eat vegetables by pot roast. A bag of small baby carrots, depending on how much you like carrots. You can use the ladder a little bit. We don't want to use that one though, that's weird. Okay, and then the very last one, I'm not gonna put seasonal on that layer because I can already see a lot of the seasonal. You take an entire can, juice included, don't dump out the juice, of just fresh cut green beans. I've used fresh green beans too, but we're just using canned steak. That's easier. I'm gonna dump it all on top. Same thing, kind of spread it out. I'm gonna season it on top, and then we want to get a little bit more juice. So I'm going to take this exact can and fill the whole thing up with water. And then dump it over the top. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I want to see the water so that it goes almost to the edge, so I think I'm going to add one more can of water to that. So I want there to be a whole lot of juice. I want to be able to see the water come up. That looks probably good. Okay, that is it. We're gonna put the lid on. I'm gonna turn it on to 8 hours. You could do this at 10 hours. I wouldn't cook it in any less than 6 hours, so if you need to eat at 6, then you need to start it before 12. I hope you enjoy, like I said, super easy pot roast meal, and that's all you need. You can cook it with garlic toast or just eat it straight out of the crock pot. Have a good weekend. See ya.